So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Yeah, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot.
Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Kick it.
Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show. So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Yeah, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny. Hot, hot, hot.
Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Kick it.
Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
Are you ready? Oh, I guess I'm ready too. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the LaTangela Show podcast. You know, it does my heart well to have this time together where we can chit about this and chat about that. I have a lot of random research because I am the queen of random research. I come across all kind of things and sometimes it just finds its way to me and I'm like, how? What is this? And who actually gets paid to conduct this type of random research? Are they hiring? Because this very well could be my next leg of the journey. Random research. I have a couple of questions that need answers, so why not? Today in the hot seat on the Tan Line, on behalf of our Gordon Gives Tan Cares initiative, where we highlight nonprofit organizations and community stakeholders that's going above and beyond in order to get it done. We're going to talk to the executive director of the Bridge Center for Hope, none other than Mrs. Charlotte Claiborne. Now, they do a lot of great community outreach. They are a crisis prevention center, and they also help you in the time of those heightened situations. We have a lot of questions that need answers and highlighting those resources, and I do not want you to miss it.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the LaTangela Show podcast. You know, it does my heart well to have this time together. And in the hot seat on the Tan Line, we're going to chop it up with none other than the executive director of someone that's just doing the most in the best way. We have my girl, Charlotte Claiborne. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Listen, I know that you have been super busy, but you're bridging different gaps. You're bringing hope. You are a light at the end of the tunnel for so many.
That's a lot.
It is. And you do it with style and grace. Let's just start there, right? Tell me a little bit about your organization.
So the Bridge Center for Hope is Louisiana's first crisis or stabilization center. And when people don't understand what a stabilization center is, it's akin to what you would find in an emergency room when people are having a mental health or a substance use crisis.
Okay.
So instead of taking them to the emergency room, and we know that the emergency room deals with a lot of things, right? But when you're dealing with mental health, sometimes when that person has to wait to be seen, it exacerbates the situation. So the Bridge Center was created to do two things: to act as an alternative to the emergency room department, and to give first responders another destination to go to, as opposed to parish, prison, or to the hospital.
And with your facility, it's unique. It's busy. And with that, you have to have a lot of resources. But your team, tell me a little bit about the thought process when you're trying your best to have the best team there to handle these crises.
So the Bridge Center for Hope contracts Recovery Innovations to do the services. So if you look up Recovery Innovations, they're their own nonprofit. And they've been around for over 30 years. They have crisis facilities throughout the entire state. So you have one in Louisiana, you have several in North Carolina, you have one in, their flagship is in Phoenix, Arizona. So you have different crisis facilities that Recovery Innovation operates. And we did a solicitation of proposals back in 2019 trying to find a provider that would be able to do these services, because we wanted to get started. We didn't want to have to wait, and we didn't want to reinvent the wheel, especially if that wheel was turning pretty great, right? So when we did that solicitation of proposals, they end up scoring the highest. So it wasn't something that we just wanted them and we chose them. We had other people that proposed that service, but they were the ones who scored the highest. And we also use outside consultants for that scoring process. And so it wasn't just the board members or anybody. Like, we used other people who had no affiliation with the Bureau Center for Hope, but also knew crisis work, to kind of guide us and lead us to what we needed to do. And so in 2019, they were chosen to provide that service. So if you look at it, everyone that is in that facility is a Recovery Innovations employee that is contracted by the Bureau Center for Hope.
Okay, good. And is it a long-term facility, short-term facility?
It's a short-term facility, but we do provide stabilization. So it's broken down into 2 units. So we have what is called a observation unit, which is 23 hours. So in that unit, that's where you have your crisis chairs, and that's where everybody who comes into the facility goes first. And that's where you do all of your assessments. You do your nursing assessments, because we do have registered nurses. You do your physical assessments with the nurses as well. You also do your behavioral health assessments with your licensed mental health providers.
Okay.
And then you also do your psychiatric evaluations, because we have psychiatric nurse practitioners on staff as well. So that unit is where we're trying to figure out what's going on with that person, because when you come in, we don't know what's going on with you.
And everybody has something different that's going on, different
Exactly.
levels, different triggers. And then you have to have these immediate different treatment plans. But one thing is for sure, everybody has to be treated with respect, and everything is confidential.
Yes.
So how do we even get to your doorstep? Is this something that we have to call a certain number? Is it a walk-in? Do we have to be referred?
No. So again, the easiest way for people to really understand what we do is if you think of an emergency room department, you don't have to call ahead. So we are very akin to that. So we don't have a referral process. You just show up. We do involuntary and we do voluntary. So when we were talking about the observation unit, so if that person can't be stabilized in that first 23 hours, we do have a bed-based unit.
Okay.
So they can go. The average length of stay for that unit is about 3 to 5 days. If that person still needs a level of care that's beyond that 3 to 5 days, then that's when we start using our community partners, and we'll go ahead and refer them to maybe a higher level of care, which is a psychiatric hospital or something to that nature. If that person's recovering, if it's a substance use type issue, then we will refer them to a 28-day residential program, because we don't do that, but we act as a referral source for everyone. So if somebody is in a crisis, they can either come to us voluntarily, just ring the doorbell, because we are a locked facility, or first responders, law enforcement, EMS, they bring individuals to us. A loved one can bring somebody to us. So there is no referral. There's no process that you have to do. You just show up. The only criteria that we do have is that you have to be 18 years and above.
Okay. So you don't have to be insured?
Well, you don't have to be insured if you're an East Baton Rouge Parish resident.
Okay.
Because we did pass a property tax in 2018 that covers that cost. But if you are an out of parish resident, then you will need some type of insurance.
Okay, so let's just say that they're in Livingston, they're in Iberville. They can get the treatment, but you just have to be insured.
Yes.
Okay. And I know that throughout the state, so many different people are harping on the crisis that we're facing, and now you're seeing it a lot more than not, right? So even if we're not talking about it day in and day out because it's not on our doorstep, it's very much a need for it.
Yes.
What are some of the crises or some of the triggers or even the seasons that you see things are heightened, or some of the things that family members, loved ones might be able to say, we might need to just check this out for each other, or to say they may need to walk into that center with them?
So when we talk about seasons, there are 2 things. There's what is called a seasonal affective disorder. That's usually in the fall when the light from outside starts to dim and you start having more darker days than you do lighter days, when we have that daylight savings time.
I heard about that. So that's really a thing.
It is a thing. So it starts around the fall. It's called seasonal affective disorder, when people start, having that melancholy mood and they're depressed and all that, because sunlight does play a role into that. So you're not having all that sunlight or the brighter days. Then we also have, I call it the back to school blues, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people start having issues right around when school starts around August, September time frame. You have teachers have stress, you have the parents have stress, the kids have stress.
True.
When we start looking at the universities, we get a lot of kids from Southern and LSU, their first time away from home. Mm-hmm. A lot of things are going on. They don't have friends here or family here, all of those things, or something happened. And so you get people dealing with that. Every August, what I do on our website, we do a back to school. And we put a lot of information on there, resources for teachers, for parents, for kids. We have a different flyer for our university students. It's okay not to be okay.
Right. That's important.
And we tell them, to utilize us if they need to. We do get campus police that bring people to us all the time just because that person didn't know what to do. So those are seasonal issues that we see. We also see when we come out of Mardi Gras or out of the new year, you get a lot of people who make these resolutions that they're going to do all of this.
New me, new number, who it is.
And then if they don't, don't make that resolution, then they feel like they failed some kind of way.
Wow.
And then you have Mardi Gras season. That's what is unique for us. A lot of people, when they start Lent, I'm going to give up X, Y, and Z. And so you start seeing people in treatment. So we have the ebbs and flows of everything. Right now, we're in the top echelon of it right now. And then there's going to be a period where it's going to be a lull, and we're not going to have that. But I thought we were going to do it last year, but we didn't. We ended up having a lot.
I got to stop you on that because you named a lot of different things, and you didn't even go to the common factors that I would have naturally gravitated towards, like finances. You didn't even go there.
Oh,
I mean, I know
goes without question. Right? Yeah, that goes without question.
But that's what I'm saying. I would have never even thought to name the other situations that you just mentioned.
Well, think about it this way. You already have those things, right?
Yeah.
You already have the financial stuff. You already have the physical issues or medical loss or all those things.
Yeah.
And then you add these other components. You add having to deal with the seasonal affective disorder. You having to deal with trying to better yourself and all these other things. We did see an increase after COVID. But that was expected, right? So before COVID, a couple of years ago, it used to be 1 in 5 individuals adults have a diagnosable condition. Now it's 1 in 4.
Wow.
So we've increased.
Okay, and it's just almost like that's the importance and the beauty of having these conversations, because if it's not top of mind, if it's not on your doorstep, it's not that it's not important.
Correct.
It's that it's just not your issue in this moment. But would you know how to get a coping mechanism if it ever found you? Would you know who to contact if you ever found yourself in that situation, or if your loved one comes home one day from school saying, I just can't handle this anymore, and you don't know what that looks like, because now life is showing us how to compare our lives to other people's best lives that they may be living, in a hashtag and a retweet and the best filtered world that we can have. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I read a study a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about it on the show, saying don't give the kids phones at such a young age, because it's robbing them of their securities. It's robbing them of the image that they should have for themselves, or even lowering their self-esteem. And I was like, yeah, I hear what y'all saying about them kids, but it's doing that for adults too.
It is.
And kids really don't know how to say it, but adults may not recognize that it's happening to them too. And we're robbing ourselves of the simple joys and those simple things that 10, 15, 20 years ago wasn't an issue, wasn't a trigger, wouldn't have had us in a crisis type situation. And now you and your team, you're seeing it more and more because people don't know how to cope with the things that life is bringing.
And it's simple life things that there's nothing new under the sun, right?
Right.
But
well, that's what they say. We learn something new every day, though. That's how we feel.
Well, we feel that way, but the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, and it materializes differently.
Yeah.
It just presents itself in a different form, in a different fashion. But I think one of the things we don't talk about is the stigma that surrounding mental health, and is more of a generational thing.
Yeah.
The children today, or the kids, or the adolescents, the adult population, they're quick to say, I have this, I need help. They're quick to ask for help when they don't really feel their best, or the way they think they're supposed to feel. But there's a population that's probably my generation or older that was a taboo of going to get help, or you don't want to seek a counselor, or just go pray about it, go do this, go do all of those things. And
what happens in this house stays in this house. Or you'll be okay. Toughen up.
It is. And I spoke at a church a couple of years ago, and I explained to them, I said, we bring things to God or whatever, and that's true. But I also say that God gave counselors, just like he gave pastors and teachers, he gave counselors too, people to be able to cope, because sometimes you want to be able to have an outlet, and you want to be able to talk about what's going on with you so that it won't become a crisis, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people think of crisis as this detrimental type thing, and when we try to explain to people at the Bridge Center, and also when we speak to first responders, is everyone's crisis is not the same.
Facts.
What causes me to go in crisis is not going to be the same issue that you causes. My coping mechanisms may be for this, and yours may be for something different. So we tell them, don't triage anybody in the field. Just bring them to us, and that's what we'll take care of it from there. And when we started explaining that to them that way, they were like, okay, that's great. but we do look at law enforcement, first responders as that de facto, because they're the first response out there.
They are.
And so they see a lot. But then we also tell them they need to take a moment for themselves too, because they see a lot. They experience a lot.
There is no off switch.
No, there isn't any off
And
switch.
they never know what they're walking into,
No.
and there's no way to cut that off.
Correct.
Once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it.
And that's your healthcare workers as well.
So now what do you do with it? And if you're not taking time to say that you're not okay, or that you need to put this somewhere else, or to say it out loud in a safe space that will be unbiased
Yes.
and can lead you in a direction that's going to be best suited for you, not opinionated, but in a best suited situation for you. Now is the time to say, I need to reach out and get some help. And everybody got one of these in their
Yes.
hands, right? I want to make sure I had my phone handy because I wanted to go to this website.
To our website?
brbridge.org.
Yes.
That's the one. brbridge.org. If you send anything out today as a hashtag, as a retweet, as a subtweet, let that be the one, because so many helping hands are there. So many concerned hearts and compassionate individuals are there. brbridge.org. 18 years of age and older. If you live in the East Baton Rouge Parish area, it's free. But if you're in another parish, Charlotte did mention that you can receive the treatments, but you have to have insurance. Now, if they're experiencing a crisis, usually 911 is our go-to for all emergencies. They don't know what to expect when they pull up. They're pulling up, walking into yet another crisis situation. If you know that it isn't something that's criminal, if it's something that may need to be de-escalated before the cops arrive, what is the procedure for that?
So if like a family member, if they don't call 911, they can bring them to the Bridge Center for Hope. They can take them to the emergency room, wherever they want, if that person's willing to get in the car and go. One of the things I want to also give a number is 988.
Yeah.
That is the crisis line it's the national crisis line. So if somebody just need to talk to someone, they can call 988 as well and talk to a counselor on the phone. But when we're going back to your question, the procedure would be to try to get that person to a safe space. If the Bridge Center is not it, then take them to one of your local emergency rooms. Try to make sure that person is in the best situation that they can be. And that person also can call 988 on their behalf, and they can tell them and direct them a little bit as well. If that person is not willing to go, then you might have to call 911 at that point, and just try to talk to them and explain as much as you can to the person on the other line as to what you've seen, what you've encountered, and what they may anticipate before they get there.
Yeah. Eliminating those stigmas, that's very important. The stigmas that we had in 98, 99, 2000 look a lot different than the stigmas we have in 24, 25,
absolutely.
moving into 26. But keeping the dialogue moving in the right direction and people being able to express themselves without being judged. And for those who are willing to give the help, all we could do is say thank you. We thank you and your team for your efforts, for your commitment. It's not easy.
No.
And I know that you don't get to cut it on, cut it off. You do
No.
it with style and grace. But baby, the stuff that comes across our desk, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take an off day for you because this is a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. We do a lot of the community outreach and some of the live broadcasts. And when you see the families coming out and just seeing that they want the help, they're asking questions. And sometimes they're asking on behalf of themselves or for a loved one. They're tired. We're tired. And if you feel like you've exhausted all of the resources, you've done everything that you can, and so many people have gone elsewhere, may have had a bitter taste in their mouths and don't even want to ask for help anymore because they're shell shocked at this point, right? So having those community entities like yourselves, we appreciate that. It's a transparent place. It's one that's full of accountability.
It has to be.
And they show up and show out every chance they get.
Yes, they do. Can I add one thing, though? When we were talking about resources, there's a couple of things. On our website, we do have a community resource page.
Love it.
And what that does is it gives you mental health resources, substance use resources, community resources, that people deal with the whole family. So we do that because a lot of times when someone is discharged from our facility, we make sure we discharge them with a plan, not just for mental health and substance use, but just for the whole person. Because again, like we were talking about, they may have come in because it was a family issue, or they may have come in because it was a whatever economic, financial issue. We try to make sure that we refer them to whoever is going to be able to help that immediate need. And then when we talk about community engagement and outreach, we do what is called the Bridging the Gap Community Resource Fair every May. We just had one May 23rd. And last year we realized that a lot of people can't access the Goodwood Library at that time frame, or they don't have transportation, or they have to work. So what we did last year is we started doing it at the community centers as well. So we're doing it again this year. We're doing it for community centers. So what I'm doing and is trying to explain is that not only is the parishioners going to be there, but we're bringing community partners with us that be able to help that whole person. So the first one is going to be on June the 12th. Is that a Thursday? I believe so. June 12th at the Charles R. Kelly Community Center. And then we have one on June 24th at the Leo S. Butler Community Center. Then July 10th at Jewel J. Newman Community Center. And then the last one is on the 24th of July at the Martin Luther King Community Center. So it's just one of those, we call it the community wellness because we bring providers that are going to do screenings. So they're going to be screening for a lot of different things for that person. So all they have to do is show up, and we're coming to you. So you can't have an excuse of not being able to receive services or to learn about what services are offered here in East Baton Rouge Parish.
I love it. She said, we're going to take this show on the road.
Gap to go.
Pulling up on a block near you. For more details, and for those who may want to be a sponsor or a community partner, how do they contact you?
So for the Gap to Go, I try not to even have sponsors. That way I can do what I want and have it in-house. So and that way we can kind of cut all the middleman out. But if they want to show up and not necessarily just be there, they look at the community or whatever, they're more than welcome to come to brbridge.org, or they can email info@brbridge.org, and that'll get to me. With the community Gap to Go is I hate to say it this way, but it is a invitation only vendor event. And the reason why I do it that way is because I don't want to have multiple resources. It's a limited capacity. So I want to make sure that I have some representation for everything. So I didn't want to have a whole bunch of mental health providers or a whole bunch of substance use providers and not have legal support or not have anything for family support. So because it's limited in size and scope, we try to have one of everything in addition to the FQHCs, which are your federally qualified community centers that provide that screening for us. So, but for the main event that we have every May, that we do is the first 35 vendors.
Okay.
Yeah. So in March, I send out something and I give them a week to figure it out, and then I open it up the registration, and they all in 2 days it's closed. And then I get nasty emails because
you knew I was coming. What happened?
I'm like, hey,
you shut it down before I could sign up.
I'm
You got
like,
to move.
Got to be the first 35. I had people like, what number am I? I'm like, you're number 4. I have one organization. They were number 2. They have been trying for the last 5 years to be number 1.
Yeah.
And so I mentioned it when we had the event. They said, and everybody like, we're gunning for you. I'm like, please let her be number 1 because this is going to be year 6. Let her be number 1. But we just had that event, and we had over 300 participants.
That's amazing.
This was our biggest one yet, and it allowed me to understand that there is a need. A lot of vendors that were there had never been there before, so we were learning about the services that they provided in addition to the community.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And, I want you to think of this as an extension of your office. Whenever you have anything going on, it's a field trip. Jump in a hot seat on the tan line. You know exactly where to find me. Pull up to the garage.
Okay.
We're here. We outside, sis. We pulling up. On 2 wheels, usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So June and July, we do have those 4 family workshops. We're bringing it to the community, and we'll have all of the details posted for you. Charlotte Claiborne, you are the real MVP. Don't you dare let them tell you different.
Okay.
I know you have more work to do, so I'm going to let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you.
Yay!
Now, for some information that I came across, real life, it kicks in. Sometimes it kicks in sooner for others than others. So I wanted to just see what Life Happens had to say about that. It's an insurance company, and they do a lot of random research because they have to know their clientele. They have to see when they're needed, what they're needed most for, right? Okay, well, the age where life, money, and the future to feel real is officially 27 years of age. Did you know that? Not 18, not 21, not even 25, but 27. That's odd, but 27 years old. A recent study of Americans split evenly between generations of Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. They all revealed that being an adult doesn't automatically start the day that you turn 18. You don't say. It's not until the age of 27 that things begin to feel real. Maybe that's after you notice that, okay, you know what? Some of these bills are starting to hit, and they do come every 30 days, and they don't seem to go down or away. Ooh, wait a minute. That was just like, what, 3 years ago for me? What did you laugh at? Oh, okay. See, your math's not math. And yeah, I said it was about 3 years ago for me. Whatever. If those bills are billing, I really need someone to get on board because I have some random research, but I'm also going to tie this into the won't ads, because I want you to get this job. Now, according to University of Nebraska, they've come up with some random research as if you should just really eat a pickle, especially if things are looking a little fuzzy for you. You can't seem to remember things the way that you used to. Eat a pickle. Now, if you have fuzzy feelings or if you're starting to feel as if things are a blur for you, biting into something sour like a pickle, it stems and heightens focus in just seconds. Did you know that? Well, now you know. Scientists say that flavors actually relax your nervous system and open arteries, increasing the amount of blood reaching your brain. So keep a pickle handy. Now, I also want you to go ahead and join our team with Court to Table. You'll see the pickle floating around, giving you all of the information, but we do have an amazing job fair that's coming up. So if you're 16 years of age and older, come through. We won't pay you in pickles. They're really going to pay you some funds, but you're going to have a lot of fun once you join our team. And I want you to come through because I've been getting my game up, and I'm going to be looking for some people out there on those pickleball courts. Bring your A game. That's all I'm saying. Talking about the generations. Generation Beta. Have you heard about it? Have you heard about Generation Beta? Okay. According to iflscience.com, you can check this out for yourself, iflscience.com. 2025, it actually marks the beginning of a new generation. All kids born from now until 2039 will be branded as Generation Beta. Look at them beta babies. That's who they are. They will see amid blogging, interaction, and technology, and they're also going to be the part of a huge cultural shift. Artificial intelligence will be a big part of their everyday life. Virtual reality will be integrated into daily activities, and self-driving vehicles will be the norm. Sound about right? Because right now, even infants have iPads. We did not. We had strawberry shortcake. Maybe an earthworm. If it glowed, we were really like next level up. Smurfs. We had Smurfs. I don't want to tell my age because 30 wasn't that long ago, right? 31, 32. Brandon, stop laughing so hard. You know, I don't have time for this. When it comes down to lying voices, you know you should be able to tell that I am only giving you the truth because I cannot tell a lie. I may withhold some information and expound upon the truth, but I cannot tell a lie. Did you hear the tones in that? Pay close attention because according to Law in Human Behavior, it's a research publication. They said that it's a surprising new research that's letting us know that people can actually tell when you're lying by listening to your voice instead of looking at your face. So someone may be able to tell you a lie with a straight face, but you'll still be able to tell that they're lying by the tone of their voices. Okay, so maybe it's not what you say, it's really how you say it. I don't know, that sounds too complicated for me. It's way too complicated, but I'm here for it. Now, I know you got places to be and things to do, and I want you to be on time. But when you say on time, what does that mean? What does that consist of? According to Vanity Fair, and if it was there, it's got to be legit. What does the phrase getting there on time means to you? Because to some, it may mean getting there a little early, it might mean getting there right on that time that we said. And for some, it might be a fashionably late hour and a half. I don't know. But according to Vanity Fair, for most people, 70% of the 4,000 people that they surveyed, getting there on time means arriving a few minutes early. 26% says that it means getting there at the exact time. And 3% of the people said, look, I think getting there on time means arriving about 30 minutes within the time frame that we agreed upon. If I'm waiting for you 30 minutes after we agreed upon the time, I'm halfway home. And that's the truth. I hope you heard that in the tone of my voice. Thank you so much to my wonderful team here at the garage. We are filming here today, and I am absolutely loving it. If you would like to be a guest on the LaTangela Show podcast, I would love to hear from you. I would love to help you tell your story in your voice. So be sure to hit me up at LaTangela.com. We got more on the way, so you be sure to stick around.
Hey, now what you say now is the voice inside your speaker box, and today I get to hang out with the world's greatest. Like, I am here. And wait, I get to say the magic word is, hey, babe!